Yep, I went to university, finished my degree and graduated without any student loan or debt outstanding. You wanna know how? You sure you wanna know? You sure? Come on, let me tell you. I went to the University of Surrey. I just graduated in June of this year, 2020. I studied a law LLB degree and I graduated with a first class honours, baby. So that is a bit of background to my university story, okay? So, how did I graduate without any debt? That's what you really want to know. Now, before we start, let me issue a quick disclaimer. If you know that SFE is what you are determined to do, that SFE is the only option that you are open to exploring to fund your degree, then I'm not sure that this is for you. You might have to tap out. I'll give you a minute. Oh, you're still here? Okay, then this video must be for you. Here's what we're gonna need. We're gonna need a little bit of discipline, a lot of drive, about an ounce of delayed gratification, and about, you know, like a gallon of support. If you got all them things, then you can graduate without any debt like I did. We all know in the UK, SFE is the done thing. If you're going to university, you're there 17, 18-year-old looking forward to uni, it's not even a thought. SFE is just the way that it goes. Like, everybody gets their tuition fees and some people a maintenance loan as well from Student Finance England, SFE. That is how most students in the UK fund their degree. Tuition fees in the UK as it stands right now for home students comes in at about £9,250 a year, I believe. That is the tuition fee that SFE usually takes on per year for most university students. In addition to that, there is something called a maintenance loan. So this is essentially for your upkeep, right? It's for you to live, eat, pay your rent, all that stuff. The government can also loan you an amount. I believe it's up to £8,000 a year, depending on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is your income and your postcode potentially. They can lend you up to £8,000 a year for your maintenance. So anybody that bothers getting maintenance loan usually gets at least £3,000 for every year they're at university. This is on top of the £9,250 for tuition fees. So if we're going for the sort of minimum maintenance loan amount, that means the average, university student is looking at what, £12,250 worth of loan from SFE for every year they're at university. That is the dumb thing in the UK. It's not even, that's what we do out here. So why are you trying to be different though? This is probably the question you're asking me, like, sis, who sent you? My mother sent me. I'm not even joking. My mom actually sent me. It was my mother's idea for us to fund my degree. Now, my mother went to university many years ago, and when she went to university in Nigeria, there was no SFE. There was no SFE, and she was brought up knowing that, your parents send you to uni, they fund your university degree. Now, things are obviously very different now to how they were then, so the comparison is not even valid. But for her, it was a thing of her parents, and indeed my father's parents too, one thing that they made sure to do was to give them education, and they paid for it out of their own pocket. Now my mum, and indeed most of our parents, are all about sort of generational improvement. So she was like, if my parents paid my fees for my university degree, how am I now gonna get my kids to get a loan that they will have to pay off over their working career? That was how she saw it. She saw it as me starting life on a deficit. She said, okay, what if Mololuwa goes to university? She decides that when she graduates at 21 that she wants to get married. Possible, She decides that she wants to get married to somebody who also has a degree. And they both, if they're just normal UK students, would have got a loan from Student Finance to fund the degree. The minimum debt they'll be starting their life together on as a couple, as a family, is £60,000. She said this to my father and she said, is that what you want for your child? You know those questions that, it's not really a question that you answer, because what's he gonna say? Yeah, that's what I want for my child. But you know what I mean, right? That was how she got him on board. And that was why this was ever even a thing. So that was the why. You need to have a why. My mum's why was that she did not want her children to go to university and to start life on a deficit, okay? She had the desire initially. The desire was then passed down to me. I kind of adopted that desire via obedience. So she came up with a plan and she said, you know what, this is what we're gonna do. And in order for anything to come of that plan, I needed to be obedient. You know, it's one thing for someone to say something to you and it's another thing for you to be like, you know what, yeah, you're right, you know. I needed to cooperate with her. My father needed to cooperate with her. We all need to work as a team. As cliche as it sounds, teamwork does make the dream work, honey, because look at me. I'm here, no SFE hanging over my neck. So my why, my desire, after my mom had that initial desire, like I said, I adopted that via obedience, and my why was, I need to graduate debt-free. That was my why. You need a why. Okay, cool. So I'm here talking about my why. You're thinking, okay, but how did you do it, sis? That's what we're here to know. The plan that my mom came up with was that I was going to spend 3 years at university, right? First year, second year, and final year, because I wasn't doing a placement year. My law degree was going to be 3 years long. Now, there are 3 people responsible for me. My mom, my dad, and myself. So my mom said, oh, 3 years at uni, 3 people responsible for you. Why don't we split the cost into 3? Meaning, I would pay a year of my tuition fees, my father would pay a year of my tuition fees, and my mother would pay the other year. I was thinking, honey, this is me, 18 years old, you know. I was thinking, sis, baby girl like me, you want me to come and pay now? Listen, excuse me, £9,250. I was thinking, nah man, this sounds long still. But that was the plan. And this is the way it worked. I had already applied for a tuition fee and indeed a maintenance loan of £3,000, and by the time I started my first year at university. So my mum came up with this plan almost as a reaction to me starting and her realizing that, oh my goodness, this girl has gone to uni and she's already got a loan for it. A loan is how she's going to fund this degree. That was when she came up with this plan. At that time, like I said, I'd already got the loan from SFE for £9,250 for my tuition and £3,000 for maintenance. Now, what we did was we returned the maintenance straight away. I just called them. I said, hi, can I give you your money back? Yeah, I want to give you your money back. Can you take your money back? And they took their money back. So the £3,000, I gave them straight back to them. My parents were like, you know what, you're going to have to work, sis, and we'll do our best to support you as well. So that happened, and then as regards the £9,250, like I said, they'd already started paying that money to the university, right, for tuition fee, because I'd started at uni. So I was left with that debt already. Now, the way in which I did it was that over the course of my 3 years at uni, I had a part-time job, and every month I would pay instrumentally to SFE a certain amount to pay off that loan. So what that did is that it gave my parents 1 year to start saving for their sort of portion of my tuition fees. So essentially I took the first year, my mom took the second year, and my dad took the last year. So in that year that I'd already got the loan from SFE, I was working to pay it back. And you know these lot love a bit of compound interest. They love a little bit of fam. So I definitely paid more than £9,250 over the 3 years, because yes, it did not happen like that. It did not happen like that. It took me 3 years to pay off the £9,250 loan that I got at the beginning of my degree. I literally made the last payment in May 2020. I started my degree in September 2017. So yeah, now the way that my parents did it then is, even if they were going to use a credit card, they would use a credit card that would gain them something. Because if you're going to be borrowing anyway, either that's from SFE or that's from a private credit company, at least try and get the most out of it. So what they did was, I know Sainsbury's does a good card where you can sort of, it's a credit card, you can pay on credit, and for every pound you spend or something, you get a point, like a Nectar card point, which obviously then means that you get to save money on shopping. We then set up an installmental plan with the fees and funding department of my university. So we sent them a proposition and said, we'll pay a sum every month towards the tuition fee. And so by the end of the academic year, the fee will be paid. That was how my parents did it. Now, I know that I am coming from a place of privilege, because I know that not everybody's parents can just fork out £600 extra a month to pay for their tuition fees. But let me tell you, I don't come from wealth. Affluence is not my middle name. There's no sugar daddy funding me. We don't have any inheritance money anywhere. My parents are literally just like normal middle class people like yours, honestly, I promise you. It's just that where there's a will, there is a way. So that is how we did it. And then as for me, I said I was working part-time. Initially in first year, I was working 20 hours a week. And then after first year and second and final year, I dropped those down to 14 hours a week. So initially in first year, I was paying £400 a month to SFE. And then in my second and final year, I was paying £250 a month because obviously my hours decreased. So obviously how much I was getting paid also decreased. Right, so there's a plan. Okay, cool, you got a plan. But realistically, like, how's it gonna work? Yeah, I know. I thought that too. Obviously, I had to get a job. I had to have a job because I had to pay my fee, right? I had to have a job. And so, realistically, if you're gonna do this, you're going to need a job. And with that job comes sacrifice. With that job comes discipline. With that job comes an understanding that you're gonna need to stick with it. I stuck with my job from first year to final year. I literally stayed in the same job for the whole 3 years. Now, that requires discipline. That requires discipline because it wasn't a student job in that they were observant of term timetable. It was a normal contract, so it was year round. And I don't live in Guildford, which is where my university was based. I don't live far from Guildford, but I'm also not a massive fan of traveling back and forth. If I know that I'm going to have to be at work tomorrow, then I'm not going to go to London for the night and then come back home to Guildford. I'll just stay there. That meant first year, I promise you, I spent about 10 months in Guildford of the 12 months in the year. I remember I went home for Christmas on the 22nd of December and I was back like early Jan because I had work. So I'd have to take annual leave to go home. This is what comes with a job: sacrifice. When other people are gallivanting, when other people are faffing, when other people are doing this, doing that, you have responsibilities as well as your academic responsibilities, which obviously you came to university to get a degree. There were so many times I thought, okay, so I have the same 24 hours in the day as these guys, like, that don't have work. Is that fair? No, God, is that fair? Like, bust me a couple more hours, man. That's genuinely how I felt sometimes, because in first year, I think most people would have known me as the girl that's always rushing. From lecture to uni, from this to that, like, there was no time to stand around after lecture and chat, because literally 9 to 11 AM I have criminal law, then I'm rushing off to work to start at 11:15 or 11:30 or something. That was my life, but I knew my why. Yeah, I was willing to sacrifice. Obviously, like, I still had to get my work done, I still had my deadlines and everything. I was willing to sacrifice, and what I think I really want you to understand is that there is always a process. Our generation is very, even with like what I said about my job, me sticking it out for 3 years, many people, you know, chop and change jobs because let's say, they want to go home and they're saying you need to take annual leave. Just quit. It's a uni job, like, it's not that deep. You're gonna hold a gun to my head and say you can't leave. Many people just chop and change jobs because it's not convenient for them at the time. I stuck with the same job even when it wasn't convenient, trust me. Many times that it was not convenient, but I stuck with that same job because there's something about process. Yeah? There are little steps that you have to take in order to get to the final goal. You know, it's not just one giant leap and you're there. There is a process. The process can be painful. The process can be painful, but you know that with every little step you're taking, with every shift that you clock in, with every lecture that you attend, with every seminar that you go to, because let me tell you, I rarely slip with those as well. Like, I'm not going to lie, big up me still, because lectures, seminars, I was there for 90%. Let me even just say that I was a little bit bad. 90% I was there for them. You just have to remember that for every one of those things you tick off in your day, that's progress. That is progress towards your goal. Discipline is something that I cannot overstate. The amount of discipline that I had to have to, you know, undertake those two responsibilities was a lot. It was a great amount of discipline that I had to have. Let me just give you an example. When I started this job, pretty much as soon as I started uni, I didn't realize that this job was more serious than I thought. Yeah, I just thought, uni job, okay, cool. I didn't care, like I was willing to work in Sainsbury's, let me stack shelves. I got a sales job. Now, if anybody works in sales, you know that there is a massive pressure because a lot of it is commission based. There is a sort of salary that we earn, but it's commission. They even advertise the pay for the role based on the commission included amount. So commission is a massive part of this sales job. And I had to go away for a residential training in Hatfield. Unbeknownst to me, I was there coming here, little uni student, come to do my law degree. I didn't even get to be there for my first week of lectures. I had to go to Hatfield to go and do training for a part-time job. Now I'm just waiting for you to make it make sense. Because it didn't make sense to me. I'm here for uni, I've got a law degree that I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm up in Hatfield doing training. Am I even trying to get into sales? That was how much discipline I had to have. Do you know how much discipline I had? In the break times of this training, because I'm missing my lectures on my first week of my law degree, I would ask my friends, big up you guys because you know who you are, I would ask them to record the lecture, send it to me, and in my training, I'd be there with my earphones in, writing notes. When people go for their lunch break, I'm there writing notes, trying to catch up with my lectures whilst the training is ongoing so that there is no massive rush when I get back from the training. Discipline is literally so key to this. Like I said, the desire is so important. You need to have a why. I've spoken about my why already. My why was initially because of my mum, and then it became, if I can graduate from uni without any debt, why shouldn't I? That was my why, and that was what kept me going. Okay? And even if you couldn't, you know, your parents cannot assist you in the way that mine did, which I'm eternally grateful for. Even if it's just going to work, can you imagine, like, it's a part-time salary, I'm not earning bears. So if I put £250 every month, what does that even leave me with? I put on £250 to my SFE, I'm also saving. What money do I have left? Do you know what I mean? Like, even if you do get SFE, start paying it off whilst you're at uni. There's no rule against that. Start paying it off whilst you're at uni. That job you're going to, don't just faff around. Use your salary to buy weave. Use your salary to buy Balenciaga. Use your salary to buy, like, to be buying pizza every night, takeaway. Chinese every night, takeaway. Start using that to start paying off your loan. Honestly, looking back, I just think it could only have been God, because there were times that I felt left out, that, you know, my friends would be doing this like after lecture, even if they'd be studying together. Can you imagine? I felt left out from study. They'd be studying together and I'm rushing to work. Or, you know, there was times where I did feel left out, and I just thought, oh, maybe it's because a lot of people in my circle, like a lot of my friends weren't working, and even if they were, a lot of them didn't have to work, they just kind of chose to, so it wasn't that serious. And so I think that's what made it feel like such a thing for me. Probably isn't, but I did feel left out within my circle sometimes because of what I had to do, but my drive kept me going. I could say holidays. I remember I spent like my summer holidays in first year at uni because I was working like almost every day. Exams, I'd have to balance that. I'd have to take annual leave for my exams. Like, you need to have a crazy drive. Your mental health, you need to still preserve it, because uni in itself, just the place, rocks people's mental health. Add the degree to it, the academic pressure rocks people's mental health. Add now work pressure to it. You need to ensure that you take care of your mental health. I'm saying all this because I'm giving you all these action points as to how I graduated without any student loan, but I also need you to know what comes with it, and I want you to go in prepared. Trust me, it is a lot, but how much more do you want to graduate debt-free? It's a lot, but how much more do you want this? Yeah? That's what you need to be thinking about. And last but not least, my support system was solid. I can't lie. Nobody knew at uni. In fact, this is the first time a lot of my friends, family, are going to know that I funded my degree with my parents. Nobody knew at uni that I was doing this. But my parents that did know, they were the only people that needed to know. They supported me so much. They were there for me mentally. They were there for me in that, I'm not gonna lie, they supported me financially. I'm not even gonna come here, I'm gonna give you the whole truth. They supported me financially in that, my father paid my rent for my whole time. They supported me that way. And obviously that's probably what allowed me not to get much of a maintenance loan. But I still do know people that didn't get any maintenance loan and their parents do pay their rent and they're not rich. Trust me, it's not, I just don't want you guys thinking that I come from a place of wealth. I'm just like you. Trust me. But my parents supported me. My family were there for me. I think most importantly, God held me up. Like, God said, sis, we gonna do this together, because he was literally like just my pillar of support. There were so many times I was just like, this is too much, man. Like, bung this. Like, I'm gonna quit this job. Like, I'm tired. I'm sorry, but the law degree in itself took its toll on me. There were times where I was just like, I can't. But the support that I got made it possible, made it easier, made it lighter to carry, made the burden lighter to carry. And I'm not going to lie, I can stand here, having delayed that gratification, I was able to graduate debt-free. SFE, you ain't got nothing on me, baby.